Stop scrolling, because you're about to meet a warrior so fast the battlefield couldn't keep up, and so feared that even kings measured their courage against his shadow. This is Achilles, the strongest fighter of Greece, the swift-footed legend of the Trojan War, built for glory and chased by fate. Imagine Troy in flames, dust choking the air, bronze clashing like thunder. Then Achilles moves. Not like a man, like a strike of lightning. But every legend has a price, and every near immortal has a single moment where destiny finds its opening. One shot, one fall, one name that echoes forever, Achilles. Achilles is born into a world that already feels like prophecy. His father is Peleus, a mortal king and warrior, and his mother is Thetis, a sea goddess. So from the beginning, Achilles stands between two realms, human blood and divine power. People say Thetis tried to protect him from death itself because she knew one truth that hangs over his entire life. Achilles is destined for glory, but that glory walks beside tragedy. As a boy, Achilles is raised and trained to become something more than a soldier. He learns speed, discipline, and relentless skill, until his name becomes a promise. When Achilles enters battle, the fight changes shape, and yet the god's shadow follows him everywhere. Achilles is offered a choice that defines his legend: a long, quiet life with no fame, or a short life that will make him immortal in memory. Achilles chooses the path of everlasting renown, even if it costs him everything. Then the Trojan War begins. An entire world dragged into conflict, ships filling the horizon, and the plain of Troy becoming a giant arena of bronze and bloodless thunder. Achilles arrives with his elite fighters, the Myrmidons, and quickly becomes the weapon the Greeks rely on most. His reputation spreads across the battlefield. He is swift-footed, faster than most men can react, striking before enemies can form their lines. In the chaos of spear and shield, speed is not just an advantage, it is dominance. Achilles doesn't merely fight, he breaks momentum, turning enemy confidence into panic. But Achilles is not only power, he is also pride. And pride is a fire that can burn even the strongest warrior. When a dispute erupts among the Greek leaders and Achilles feels dishonored, he withdraws from the fighting. The Greek army feels the absence immediately. Without Achilles, the battlefield tilts. The Trojans push forward. The Greeks begin to fall back. The war that felt controllable becomes desperate. This is where the story turns, because Achilles has one bond stronger than pride: Patroclus. Patroclus is not just a companion. He is the person who understands Achilles when the rest of the world only fears him. Seeing the Greeks collapsing, Patroclus begs to enter battle wearing Achilles' armor, hoping the sight of that armor alone will terrify the Trojans and turn the tide. Achilles agrees, and for a moment it works. The Trojans retreat, believing Achilles has returned. But the battlefield is a place where mistakes cost lives. Patroclus goes too far, and the war answers with cruelty. He is killed by Hector, Troy's greatest champion. And when the news reaches Achilles, everything inside him snaps into a single purpose. This is the moment Achilles becomes something almost unstoppable, not because he is calm, but because he is burning. Grief turns into fury. Fury turns into fate. Achilles' mother, Thetis, rises from the sea to comfort him, but even a goddess cannot erase what has happened. Instead, she helps him prepare for what must come next. Achilles receives new armor forged by Hephaestus, armor worthy of a warrior whose name has become legend. The most famous piece is the shield, crafted like a world in miniature, because Achilles is no longer just a man in a war. He is a force that makes the entire war revolve around him. Then comes the confrontation the world remembers: Achilles versus Hector. The air around Troy feels charged, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Hector knows what Achilles is, and still he stands, because honor demands it. Achilles, driven by grief for Patroclus, hunts Hector down. The chase becomes mythic. Hector running along the walls of Troy, Achilles closing the distance like death itself. And when they finally clash, Achilles wins. Troy loses its strongest protector, and the war tilts again, this time toward ruin. But victory does not free Achilles. It tightens the knot. Because Achilles' story is not a story of winning. It is a story of glory that cannot be separated from loss. The greatest warrior in Greece has done what no one else could do, yet the cost has hollowed him out. The battlefield has given him fame, but it has taken his peace. And then the final thread pulls tight, because fate always returns to the one weakness the world whispers about: In later tradition, Achilles is described as nearly invulnerable, except for a single vulnerable point, his heel. And this is where the kungadimen becomes inevitable. During the later stages of the war, Paris, not the strongest, not the bravest, fires an arrow, and the gods intervene. Apollo guides it. The arrow finds the one place that can end the legend. Not the heart, not the chest, the heel. A small target, but a perfect symbol. Even the greatest warrior can fall to the smallest opening when destiny decides the moment has come. Achilles collapses, and the battlefield that once shook under his speed goes silent for a breath, because everyone understands what they have just witnessed. The end of a living weapon, the end of a name that felt unbeatable. Achilles dies, but his choice comes true. He becomes immortal in story. His strength, his speed, his fury, his grief, and that final fatal fall become the shape of his myth, a man built for glory and claimed by fate. And that is why Achilles never fades. Because his legend isn't only about being the strongest, it's about what strength costs when fate is already waiting at the finish line. He runs through the Trojan War like lightning, faster than fear, sharper than steel, unstoppable, until the world finds the one opening destiny left behind. Achilles wins glory, but he loses peace. He proves that a warrior can dominate an entire battlefield and still be shattered by love, pride, and grief. And in the end, it isn't the mightiest enemy who ends him. It's a single arrow, a single moment, a single fall that reminds us of the most brutal truth in myth. Even the greatest heroes are human where it matters most. So remember Achilles as the swift-footed champion of Greece, near immortal, unmatched, unforgettable. Because his story is not just the story of a warrior, it's the story of how a legend is made, by speed, by sacrifice, and by the fatal moment when glory becomes tragedy.